Some things that happen in life, they have a really sad side to it, but they also have a really funny side to it. Hey, you! Could you do me a favor and please click that subscribe button and like button? It would help me out a great deal as I'm trying to move this channel forward. Thank you. Are we really gonna stick up with what baby boomers told us? God damn it, I miss Berghain. But I'm gonna give you 3 tips how to survive the summer without Berghain. We were dressed appropriately, we talk German, and we are big techno fans. They did not let you in because you were talking Greek together. Like, I've heard so many languages in front and behind me, and they also got in. Some also got rejected, but it has nothing to do with your language. And yeah, I find it racist. I understand that they want a specific dynamic for the place, but in that case, I don't believe that that was the problem. It wasn't. Don't agree with that and won't try it ever again. Cheers. Well, at least if you never try it again, then you won't have to endure it again. Like, honestly, like, I am lucky, but like, everyone can get rejected once in a while. Mosburg, a colorful, amazing, longer time span that you can go there, and for me it's definitely a nice option to go there. As you can see, I dressed up for it. Not that it's currently open. As you can see, it's currently Friday morning, so it will open tonight. But this weekend I have other plans. Since I am making videos about psychedelics and other drugs, I thought it would be handy to create sort of a guide what you can do if you want to start with psychedelics. Okay, my name is actually not officially Mischa, but it is Micha Lucas, to make it sound fancy. Micha and Lucas are both 2 prophets from the Bible, as my dad was a deacon. My calling name is Mischa, but here in Germany you cannot register under that name, so everywhere where I register or at work or whatever, people always call me Micha. So yeah, but please call me Mischa because that's, yeah, my name basically. So all of a sudden I wear different clothes. No, it was actually too busy to film at the restaurant. A lot of people, I like to have the sound to be clear. So what I actually did was we made 5 shots for his video that's going to be shown in the supermarket here in Berlin. I wanted to make a little bit of a build-up, so 1 shot basically of the front, so people know where they are going to. Second, of course, the chickpeas, the hummus, the rolling of the hummus, then the amazing menu that he offered. So we had the hummus teller, we had a hummus classic, and we had a sandwich, shawarma sandwich made from jackfruit. It's really, oh man, it's one of my favorite dishes there. And yeah, put that all together, put all the stuff that people need to see, because of course it's going to be shown in the supermarket and there's not going to be any sounds. And gladly yesterday I got to eat most of the food, so that was amazing. I love the hummus there. I can't get any other hummus than eating there. Do I actually still wanna be here? I sort of want to be here. And I sort of noticed that thought in my head that I had that more often throughout my life. And I would never do something to myself because life is way too fun, like whatever. But having that thought in my head, I had some experiences in my life that I was like, okay, maybe it's time to get some help, to do something with this. So while I was sitting there, of course I did not throw myself in front of a subway. Of course I also didn't tell anyone, because it's not necessarily a thing that you just walk up to a friend and be like, hey, yeah, maybe kill myself a little, you know? You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna approach someone that easily to talk about these things. How to crush your sugar post-corona. Yeah, hopefully at one point the clubs are gonna go open. Hopefully. And then we gotta take care of ourselves, keep ourselves healthy. So today I got here all the products to crush your sugar safely, clean. Sometimes it comes in wet, but then you have to dry it on, like, you could do that on glass, spread it out, let it be there for like, I don't know, an hour, and then you can just let it dry. And then on the other end we have the crystal sugar. This one comes in a rock. Sometimes you get little pieces, but well, for this video it is like this. Start with my supplements to defeat winter depression. How to fight that fucking winter depression. So let's start off with vitamin C. I had some panic attacks at work, which were of course a bit fun, because not only you are in panic, but also the persons around you get into panic. I remember sitting behind my desk at work, and I had a customer on the phone. Mind me, I did some customer service, and I was calling with this person, and I literally did not understand anything that he said. I was just out of it. It was sort of like if you would watch Saving Private Ryan and a grenade would go off and you would hear nothing, but everything around it goes on. That was basically it. I got myself into the kitchen. I tried to calm myself down. Did not really work, started to cry. So Panicky Mischa was walking around the office crying and in stress. It was amazing. I walked up to my team lead and I told him, like, it's not going so well. He told me, I can see that. Hello. For the occasion, I dressed up. I have a little secret. I like to be tied up from time to time. You can leave out those 3 weeks every time by 3 days. But what you're gonna do is basically on the first day you're gonna take it. What I would suggest always is that you don't only do it on days that you were off. Because that's not the point of it. What you would like to do is that you use it also, for example, when you go to work or when you just have your normal day going on. The reason behind this is that you want to put yourself in a position where you can compare yourself to normal life. As I mentioned before, as it puts you a bit out of your comfort zone, but due to that you are able to learn a lot from yourself. So that's basically the first day. You take it, you go through it. I would suggest by night that you also see a little bit, okay, how was today? How did I feel? What did I achieve? Or what did I see for myself? Then the day after, you of course don't take anything, but that day is to really reflect on what happened on the day before. And I would definitely suggest that you journal as well, so that you have an overview of the impressions that you get. And then the last day is basically the third day. You need this day to feel sober, to feel normal, so that the day after, when you go into a new cycle, that you can compare your normal state with the moment that you're microdosing LSD. Mischa, why don't you go to church? And then you say to this tall ass priester, you tell him, no, I don't find anything in the church. I have my friends, I have my family. What else do I need to have? It's all that I can see. It's all that I trust. This here is Berghain, the best techno club in the world, according to me. It's like having episodes. See it as a little TV show. So you have the start of an episode and you're not really aware of what's happening. But as long as you don't take care of yourself, that's just gonna continue. And there will be an end to that once the moment that you do take care of yourself. But in that period of time, you react differently, you're anxious to everything, and you're not the best version of yourself, so to say. So what happened? Well, she was on the brink of going away from Europe for her exchange, for her studies. And I was by then finishing my studies, and I was going from Leeuwarden, the place where I studied, to Berlin. And in the meanwhile, we weren't together, but well, if you love someone, I was still in contact with her. And there was this moment when she told me that she called me up and she was like, Mischa,
I want to drive myself against a tree. And by then I didn't know how to react. By then I didn't know why she was saying that. So I stopped using drugs for 100 days. I'm 100 days sober now. Bit longer, but you want to know what my experience was and what I did for it, then give this one a listen. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about GHB GBL. So this little bottle can be fun, but it can also cause a lot of trouble. Since there's quite a controversy about GHB GBL here in Berlin and what my experience is with it. I've tried it a while ago with friends that I knew that take it responsibly, and after all the fuss and buzz about it, I wanted to see how it hit and what it actually does. How does it feel to get your face tattooed? Well, hear me out. You want to have something strong, sweet, and that makes you happy? Use me. No, use strawberry kush. Favorite, I would say, Keta, or one of my favorites. This is, of course, medicine for horses. It will make you feel numb because it also makes you numb. The feeling that you get from it, it's like, it depends a bit on the Keta that you get because you have several options and several feelings that to that. You have the type that goes a bit more to that you have the feeling that you walk on the clouds. And then you can also go the other direction where it gets a bit more trippy. My dad got sick at one point. He had cancer. He struggled with that for 3 years. But I learned one thing from my dad, that even if you're sick, you can still do anything you would like. This guy, he was, or this man, he was sort of like a little hero. Instead of like his diagnose, after a year, he was okay. Then it came back and then it was already quite certain that he would pass away 6 months later. And he actually extended that to 2 years. Why? Just because he wanted to work. That's all. He just wanted to continue working. So a few days before he passed away, he was still just doing a ceremony. And it was freaking pretty. Oh, I make a bit of a mess of it. I should have put this here, but oh well. Mistakes happen. So am I. We were standing there with the priest, and just before my dad would go into the grave, he still asked if someone wanted to say something. And I have some weird people in my family. I have an aunt. And she asked the priest if she could still say something before he got into the grave. And the priest was like, yeah, whatever, like, just do it. If it doesn't take too long. And she grabs a paper and she starts off, "Dear Satan." She starts a little satanic rhyme, and you must see the face of the priest. He's like, what the fuck is happening here? If you get them in the booklets, this is already done, but yeah, it's not that hard. You just have to check, because sometimes I forget that, like, which side it is. It depends a bit on the brand. Some have them the other way around. And then I'm super confused, and then I roll my joint, and then while smoking it, I all of a sudden notice, this is like Titanic joint, that's not gonna happen. Of course, check out what kind of neighborhood you are going to live in, if that fits with your way of living. So for example, when I was living in Charlottenburg, I remember I was standing outside with my roomies. I had my window a little bit open so we could hear the music that I was playing inside. Mind me, it wasn't even loud, but 5 minutes after that, all of a sudden a grumpy old lady started yelling from the other side of the street, "Nachtruhe!" Which basically means like, okay, after a certain time you need to be quiet. When I was 11 years, I started the process of the confirmation to the Roman Catholic Church. And I already told my dad by then that I didn't want to do it, because I knew I would get some kind of gifts or so. But my dad made the agreement with me that if I would go to all the educational evenings, he wanted me to go there because there was stuff that I could learn from it and etc. But he would ask me just before the confirmation if I still wanted to do it, yes or no. So I went to all the evenings, and I also went to this youth Christian day. It was quite big, etc. I got a mug there. But once everything was finished and etc., the day came, and my dad asked me, "So, do you want to do the confirmation?" And I just told him straight away I wouldn't do the confirmation. But let's be fair. I think most of us are definitely the gun shooter of their own self-destruction. And it's the same thing with therapy. If you don't want to work for your therapy, or you admit that you have a problem, or I wouldn't say problem, but something that you have to work with, or that you just do it for other people, then therapy is most likely not going to work. I've been guilty myself of that. I did my therapy in Berlin at the age of 28, and then I was finally ready for it. I also tried to do it before, and I often failed because, well, it was too confronting for myself. I didn't know how to deal with it. So yeah, then I just stopped at one point, and I noticed that it was actually still there. This pill also might have some side effects. You even have some side effects that might strike 1 person out of 3 million people. Gladly, my girlfriend was that person to be struck. It was a really intense time. I've learned so much from it. But again, to everything painful, there's a little funny story. She got into the hospital, and she had 13 epileptic attacks in a row in one weekend, and 1 seizure. Since she was from Germany, I was in the hospital. She didn't talk Dutch. The doctor also didn't talk German. So after the attacks and the seizure, the doctor told me if she's gonna have another seizure or another attack, she will go to intensive care and she might not make the day. I had to go to the parents to tell the parents that. Was not a nice moment. I can honestly say that that's been my most drastic moment in my life. I remember sitting myself at a window. No. An hour later, she finally, we thought that they found the balance with the medicine and that everything would be fine. We were sitting with her, there were no doctors around, and she started to shake. So I already was like, okay, I'm gonna walk out, I'm gonna get the doctor because this is happening again. What actually happened, she started to shake, and she started to shake because she thought it was a funny joke. So she started to shake, and while I ran away and her mom was like, "Are you fine?" She just continued for like 1 second more, and then she was like, "Nah, guys, just joking." Oh man, really dark, really funny. I always notice that there are certain desires that a person still has, and I mean that from both sides. That monogamous relationship relates a lot to, okay, I am not going to do certain things because I don't want to hurt the other person. And of course, I think if the person that you are with is not agreeing or is not open towards certain desires, of course, then yeah, you don't want the other person to feel uncomfortable. But if that means that you also don't get to know yourself and you still walk around with certain desires, then I really question, should you maybe be together with that person? Are you a fit with that person? Instead of taking each other's freedom away. I made a nice little experiment with that as well. Dealing with anxiety and depression is sort of like, sometimes you're anxious but you don't know why, and sometimes you're sad. You sort of know why, but still. at those very moments, what I used to do, if I started to be anxious, I got more anxious because, yeah, why are you anxious? I don't know. Got even more anxious. And you have these episodes, they call them. It's like an episode that it could take 2 weeks that you feel sad or that you feel anxious. What I do now is I go to a club, I stand there. Sometimes I even do this alone because I just like doing this. I stand there, I start dancing, I just enjoy myself. And at one point, I might get anxious. And then I'm gonna have a discussion in my head. I'm gonna have a discussion in my head of, okay, I'm anxious now. Am I gonna go home? No. Is there a reason to be anxious? No. Dance a little more. And at one point, it will just be gone. The same things for if I am in a place and I'm just sad. I talk to myself, okay, why am I sad? Oh, do I know that story? Yeah, probably. Something that happened years ago. Am I still sad about it sometimes? Yes. What do? I just say, no, fuck it. I am here on my own. I am dancing on my own. I'm enjoying myself on my own. My little experiment. Before you know it, you're 18 hours at a club. I think seeing the difference in between the ego versus the character, that's one of the biggest gifts, at least for me. And growing over some things, that's the biggest gift from Acid. Let me give you an example. I made some videos about this before. I had some traumatic experiences in my 20s, and how sad that made me be. I went to therapy, but even after completing my therapy, I still noticed that some days I would wake up with this sad feeling of not understanding what was really going on. And when I started with Acid, I think 1.5 years ago, I started to notice that really helped me a lot. So for example, with my dad, I did not have the best relationship with him. I wish that would have been different, and that was mostly my ego still holding me back, not being happy with the situation. And there was a certain responsibility that I felt towards that topic, that I should have done different. If you talk about mental health, there's always another word added. Either it's problem or it's issue. And both of those terms says there is something wrong with you. If you say mental health problem, okay, well, so it's your problem. You have to solve it. I start to recognize, for me, it's not a problem anymore. It's not an issue. It's something that I have to just deal with. There's no such thing as always feeling normal. There's no such thing as always just, oh, I'm good. No, that's not gonna happen. For me, at this very moment, I just go to clubs. I enjoy myself here, living here in Berlin. I am able to sort of, those moments that you're sort of with your head somewhere else while you're in a club, while you're on holidays. It's not happening anymore. And I really enjoy that. Maybe. I don't know. I don't have the experience with it. And I also then ask like, okay, what kind of job do you think? And then I mostly get like the job as a banker or like as someone working in a hospital. But then again, like if I think about bankers, maybe it would be handy if we have people with tattoos, because the most people that I meet with face tattoos and tattoos on visible places, they're quite awesome and they're quite nice and they're quite empathetic to other people. And that's something that I can't necessarily say about bankers. There was a period for 3 years that I didn't speak to my mom. It had some benefits and it definitely also had some sad times. I wish I had 4 hands so I could give this place 4 thumbs down. Place didn't let us in on a Sunday because we didn't have to look, I guess. So many other great options. Don't go here where they judge and discriminate and promote a fake live free culture, disgusting business. Oh well, there's a lot of judgment in your own statement there, I see. Oh, how people always come up with the fact of like, does it matter that how they look like? Like I have seen all kinds of people in Berghain from all kinds of colors, people with disabilities, everything. Not all tattoos are so serious. So for today, my 4 funniest tattoos that I have. I just want to say, I'm just chilling and I'm good. And this was basically my first time making a little show for you guys.